Hey everybody, Zombie Jesus here with another Let's Play. Today I was thinking about playing a little bit of Kerbal Space Program. It's a pretty cool game where you get to, well, basically start a space program on a planet that has not yet discovered rocket science. So I'm going to start a new game here in career mode. So we have to gain science points as well as earn funds to fund our space program into well, space. I gotta think of a clever name here. I'm probably just gonna call it the Stanky Space Program. It's usually what I call things when I can't think of stuff. Stanky Space Program. Doesn't matter what it is, it's always the Stanky Space Program. Alright, so starting a new game here. Buddy over here is gonna let us know about stuff, but I got it. I've played a bit of this game before. This game's actually, it's been out for a while. It's a year or two old now. But it's constantly being updated. It's been a while since I've played this game, so there's a bunch of new updates to it that I might not be totally familiar with. But the gist of it is, we're here on this planet. So as far as I can scroll out, really? I guess for now. But yeah, we're here on this planet. We can do things like there's a runway here. We can make planes, and we can make rocket ships that blast off this here launch pad. So I don't want to waste too much time. I'm gonna get right to the meat of it, the girth, the meat, the balls, the juice, the yams. So this is gonna be a little, I don't know, cockpit. What's it actually called? A command pod for our Kerbins. Those are the people on this planet. You can see them down there, a bunch of Kerbins roaming around here in our space plane hangar, our rocket hangar. At this point we really are limited with our options, so I'm just going to start with a really simple launch. Excuse me. We have a command pod attached to a solid fuel booster, which means I can't adjust the throttle. Once it's on, it's on. It's just gonna and do what rockets do. I'm going to attach a parachute to the top so that once the rocket's spent, I can safely parachute and land on the ground without hurting myself. We need to make sure our stages are good here, so that this goes off first and then that goes off second. If they go off at the same time, it's kind of catastrophic. Just gonna name this the I don't know, what are we? We're the Stanky Space Program. So it's gonna be the SSP Stanky 1. We're gonna save this ship and we're gonna go launch. So yeah, check this out. This is the space program is not a game. It's more of a simulator than anything. And they've added things like science points and money to progress through some kind of tree to make it like a game. There's mechanics to make it a game, but it's really just a rocket simulator, a space simulator. So I want to make sure I got full throttle here. You can do that with Control and Shift or Z to just make it full, or X. None, Z full. Here we go. Make sure the staging's good. Jeb's is happy. Oh yeah, there's if I just launch this right now, like check it out. Now I control this. I can make it go sideways, up, down, anyway. But there is a way to, use the computer to sort of automatically stabilize your motion, so that if I just do something really stupid, it kind of goes back to where it started. And that's this here. This SAS, the system automatic stabilizing system. It's a stabilizing system that can help me point. See, right now it's going all wibbly wobbly. If I turn on the there we go. Turn on that, it won't go so wibbly wobbly. It's a system that automatically stabilizes your ship. See, right now it's off and we're going wibbly wobbly. There we go. And that's not like a computer hack. That's like something that exists in real life. stability assist system. So as we fall back to the like, we made it pretty high there. Actually, we made it like, we can check. We got some kind of achievement here. We got a bunch of achievements. I'll come back to that because we're plummeting to the earth right now, or Kerbin. We're plummeting back to Kerbin's surface at a rapid rate. I want to make sure I deploy these parachutes. If I deploy the parachute now, we're moving pretty fast, so the chute won't rip off just yet. If we were going too fast, the chute would just rip right off. But we're fine now. But you see, it's not opening, and I'm still declining at a rate of about 100. I don't know, meters, 100 meters per second. Yeah, 175 meters a second that I'm falling. But once, see it's starting to open? See, the atmosphere of a planet is thinner up top and thicker as you get closer to the planet. It's because of gravity. Gravity pulls the atmosphere, oxygen, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, all that stuff gets pulled down from gravity down here to the surface. So the atmospheric pressure down here is much greater. There's much more atmosphere down here. So as we fell through, the parachute didn't open up because the air was so thin. But once you get below 300 or 400 meters, the air is actually much thicker, and the parachute opens up because of that. This is not an accurate representation of Earth's atmosphere. I believe this has been scaled down by about a third, if I'm not mistaken. So in the real world, everything will be about times 2. And there's mods you can get for this game to make it real world, but right now we're just playing the stock version of the game. And things are about a third. Like the moon, you see the moon over there? I can't remember the actual distance of the moon in this program, in this simulator called Kerbal Space Program, but it's about a third of the distance of our actual Earth moon. This moon is called Mun, and Mun is about a third of the distance of our lunar body, Luna. So anyways, now that I've crash landed here, and I totally forgot to do science, we need to collect science as we go, so that we can progress in the tech tree. But I can do a crew report here from Kerbin's water, and I can gain 2 science from that. So I'll just hold on to that, and I will recover this vessel. Now you'll see I gained 7 science from this mission, for a total of 15 science available to me. I gained 5 science from a vessel that survived flight, so basically just launching and getting the vessel back gave me 5 science, and then 2 from taking that crew report while I was in Kerbin's waters. So now I'm quickly going to unlock these first couple of things, nodes, on our tech tree here. You can see it's quite a, well, that's the tech tree. I've unlocked basic rocketry, so I'm going to have fuel tanks and a better engine. This engine runs off liquid fuel, so I can adjust my throttle instead of just having these solid fuel boosters that they burn and that's all. They just give you a boost and that's it. And I unlocked a new one of those and a fuel tank. And down here in engineering, I look like I got some things that I can, once I collect some science on my voyages, on my launches, I can use these communicatrons and Communitron 16 to transmit the science back to Kerbin's surface. Usually at a penalty. You don't get 100% of the science, but a lot of times you're not able to bring the science back to the surface and retrieve it. So, sending it back is kind of your only way that sometimes. And then a decoupler, so I can make stages to my rocket. You'll see what I'm talking about. And a thermometer, again, something for collecting science. I can take the temperature of areas and collect scientific data, and that will help me progress to get bigger and better rockets. So for now, I'm just going to slightly modify our zoom out here. I'm just going to slightly modify this by adding the new solid booster. The last time we had this little guy here. You see this little guy? So this guy's twice the size. The flea solid booster has, well, this much thrust. Where is its fuel? It has, it burns its fuel at 15 units per second, and it's gonna burn out how long? I don't know. It's been a while since I played this. Here we go. It's got 140 solid fuel. This guy's got 375 solid fuel, so we will get higher and farther with him. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of, I don't know what the word is, aerodynamics, I don't know, control here. I want to add 3 of these wings. I want them to be symmetrical. I'm going to pop them down here near the bottom. So look, we got some wings on here for some aerodynamic stability. Should be able to, you know, go up and down straight and have that be nice and fancy. Also, like the first launch that you just watched, once I launch, when everything's done, I'm going to pop the parachute, fall back safely down. Now this fuel tank here, it weighs so much that this parachute will not slow me down sufficiently. If I were to launch this right now, everything would go fine till I hit the ground, and I'd be moving a bit too fast at that time, and everything would blow up. And it's because this chute didn't slow me down enough. So what I'm going to do to solve that problem, I don't have another parachute. I don't have a bigger parachute. I just have the one parachute. So to solve the problem, I'll add a decoupler there. So once I'm done with this rocket, I can just blast this decoupler off, and all I'll have is this pod floating back to the Earth. It'll be, or Kerbin, sorry, floating back to Kerbin. It'll be dandy. It'll be fancy. The only thing is you have to make sure you do things in the right order. So when I launch, this is going to go. Then I can choose to make this decouple, and then I can... Perfect. This is going to be the SSA Stanky 2. SSP Stanky. The Stanky Space Program Stanky 2. Save. Launch. This society, this planet, they have not yet made it to outer space. Think Earth in like the 60s. They're there. They know they can do it. They haven't done it yet. So we're here on the edge of it. On the brinking edge of rocket science. This is the newest, brightest technology in Kerbin, and we're gonna see how high we can get. The first launch, we broke several world records, world first milestones. We broke a speed record of 25 meters per second, and we gained money and science because of that, and prestige. I don't know if it's prestige in this game. It might be some other value that values, you know, prestige. Launch your first vessel. We get some money. Look, we broke a bunch of speed and altitude records. So I'm just going to go to the bottom to see what the biggest one. We broke an altitude record of 7,000 meters. We were 7 kilometers on that first launch into the sky. And we covered a distance across the land of about 3 kilometers. And I know we can do better than that because this rocket is bigger and better. So full throttle. Even though, like I said, it doesn't quite matter what your throttle's at with these solid state boosters. They just burn. And I'm going to use the stability assist to keep us on course. Jebediah Kerman is bravely at the helms, ready to go where no man has gone before. This has taken long enough. Let's blast off. I'm going to do a quick gravity roll to turn towards the moon. Point my nose down slightly. And yes, we are off. The heat, look at the heat blasting. As we crash through Earth's atmosphere, we're gaining so much heat, things are blowing up. Oh my, our wings blew off from all this heat as we burst through the atmosphere. We're high up now, about 30 kilometers up. Still just gonna come plummeting back down. But while we're up here, I can take a quick crew report. And we'll gain, from Kerbin's upper atmosphere, the crew's assessment of the situation. Well, what is the crew's assessment? We're in the upper atmosphere, and we're going to gain 5.5 science. 4.5 science. 4.5 science for taking a crew report up here in the atmosphere. Now, as far as I know, the pod can only hold one crew report. So if I were to take another crew report from this height, it might, see, it will overwrite. Crew report. Well, in space near Kerbal. Okay, so I just collected a crew report, well, in space near Kerbal. So technically we are in space right now. The only thing is it overwrote my crew report from the upper atmosphere. So if I want that science back, I will have to take another crew report on a separate launch from that height. When I'm in that height, I'll take a crew report and try to get that science. Now we're actually still gaining altitude here. If you see, we're going up. If you watch this, it's going up still. We're going up at 500 meters a second. We're still gaining altitude. We're at 100 kilometers, 100,000 meters above the surface. Let's just take this view in. Take a gander at the view. It's quite beautiful. Where's the moon? There's the moon. We're still not there yet. Let's zoom in. You can see this thing on my screen here. It says 1.6 kilometers. That's the stage before. Remember, I blew off the tank that was beneath my pod. That's it there, floating. It still had upward altitude. It was still gaining altitude when I detached it, so it continued to gain altitude along behind me. It will fall back to Kerbal's surface, very much like I will, because we've just gone up. Even though we're pretty high right now, at 115 kilometers above the surface, we are technically in space. But we're going to come back down from Kerbal's gravity. In order to maintain an orbit, you need to be traveling across the horizon at such a great speed that even though the gravity's pulling you down, think about jumping off a staircase. It goes down, so as you're going so fast that you're always falling, but you never hit the ground because the ground disappears beneath you. That's how you maintain an orbit. We're just going up and we're going back down. We're already falling. We're falling at 260 and climbing meters per second that we're plummeting back to Kerbal's surface. I dare not take another crew report because then I'll lose my science, but I know there was more science to be gained here. I forgot to put a thermometer on. If I had a thermometer, I could take the temperature right now, and that would give me a lot of science. But alas, that shall be left for another episode. There is one more thing. I'm going to also, since this is, right now there's nothing on screen to tell, but it's probably going to be 2 or 3 minutes just for this thing to come back to the surface. So what we can do is time warp. You see right there, we can speed up time. So time is going faster now. As we lose altitude, the time warp changes. So now we can only go 4 times regular speed. But this is 4 times. Okay, I'm going to slow down so we can capture the re-entry here. See, as we re-enter the the atmosphere, we're not going very fast. We're only going 800 meters per second. We're losing speed now because the atmosphere is thick, and as we cut through it, it's causing friction that we saw there as heat waves. So that's causing us to lose speed. So now that we're actually down to a safe speed, we're under 300 meters a second. We're not too high. I can orbit. I can eject my parachute. Now it's going to help us slow down, but that doesn't matter at this point. All that matters is that we came slow enough that the parachute didn't rip off immediately. Parachute maintained is still intact. So now when we come back down under 3,000 or under 1,000 meters, we get back down into a kilometer above the surface, the parachute will open up. And we will slow down and land, even though we just went into space. Look at that. We're right there. There's where we took off from, right there. We did not go very far. See, it opened up at, 900 meters. I'm just gonna speed time back up again until we land, because this part right here will take like 2 or 3 minutes. We're going to ×4 speed, and look at like if we go to regular speed, this parachute, we are barely losing altitude. This is going to take a few minutes just to come back to the surface. We're going to do a water landing here. Now, the pod can hold 1 experiment on it, which I have, but Jebediah can, wait, maybe the pod can hold more. I don't know. Jebediah can also hold experiments. He's going to do an EVA here in the water and take an EVA report from Kerbin's water. I don't think a spacesuit was entirely necessary to get here. Yeah, I've read that before. And no, it wasn't. We haven't gone far. But I can gain 3 science from that. I'm going to keep that science. I'm going to push B to get back in there. And I'm going to recover this vessel. Now, best I can figure, I know we gained some science. 16 science earned. We have 26 science now. Excellent. Okay. So there's some stuff we can afford here. I don't even know if I want to spend it yet, because there's still more things that I want to do here on Kerbin. Or, well, in Kerbin's near atmosphere. Now, this runway is completely useless, and I could spend money on upgrading it to make it useful, but I don't think I'm going to do that yet. What I think I'm going to do is end this episode here. I'm going to upload another episode immediately after this, so don't worry. But, yeah, I'm going to end this episode. In the next episode, we are going to make a plane, and we're going to collect some science from around Kerbin and unlock a whole bunch of stuff on the tree, and then we're going to make a bitchin' rocket that goes to the moon. And we're going to go to the moon on maybe our 3rd or 4th rocket launch. We've already done 2 rocket launches. I'm going to go to the moon on my 3rd or 4th rocket launch. Mark my words. No other society has ever done that before. Anyways, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Have a good evening, and I'll see you in the next one.